Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 6, and I'm calling this All Salt and No Sugar. The bottom two this week was P.O. and Cornelius went home. And P.O. better be really lucky that they pulled in this, these sort of blind date people, Cornelius, because if Cornelius wasn't here, P.O.'s ass would have been sent home as well. And and I'm not really a fan of these blind dates, bringing people back into the mix. I'm really not, because what it does is it doesn't really allow people to concentrate on the people that are already there, because there's constantly being new people introduced. In fact, it mimics too much like the dating world. That's part of the problem right now in the dating world, is you can't even get to know a person because it's so many other distractions out here. And this show actually is doing the same thing. So I don't like this. I like more of an incubator where the people are there. It's intense. They get to know each other and they either pair up or they don't pair up. That's actually what I prefer. But in this situation, P.O. better be damn lucky Cornelius was there, because Cornelius saved him from elimination, because he was horrible this episode. P.O. was horrible. It should have been a double elimination, to be honest with you. It should have been a double elimination. Well, y'all know I'm always talking about buyers and sellers, and I always talk about women. They don't know they're the sellers. Well, let me tell you what happened this week. Cornelius and P.O., they don't even understand their roles as buyers. Cornelius went home because you know what? He didn't put in no offers. Nowhere. I didn't see one offer that Cornelius put in. I didn't see him pursue not one woman. And as a result, he went home. I don't know who he thought he was up in here. Maybe he thought he was a seller, and he got confused by that date with Ace, because Ace sat up there and, was asking all the questions like she was the buyer, and maybe he felt comfortable with that. But Cornelius, you're not the seller, you're the buyer. And you know what? You don't get a house if you don't put no offers in. So, they sent him home as they should. Now, P.O., he knows that he's a seller, but you know what P.O. reminds me of? He reminds me of these people that try to put in offers on some of my places. I call them low ball offers. And I say, why the hell are you giving me this offer? What makes you think I would accept this offer? I said, I'm not no desperate seller. I'm not sitting over here about to go into foreclosure and I just got to sell to you at some bargain basement price. Because that's pretty much what P.O. is offering. He's offering pretty much nothing. He's trying to get your house for pennies on the dollar. And these women are not going for it. All that talk P.O. was doing, I thought he was like, where are we in the color purple? Who he think he is, mister? And these women are Sealy. These offers are horrible that P.O. was putting in. Horrible offers. You know what? In my world of real estate, he wouldn't even get a counter. If I was accepting offers from different buyers and he put an offer in, I wouldn't even counter him. And then he'd be mad, talk about, well, don't I deserve a counter? No, you don't deserve a counter. Your offer is so horrendous, so offensive, that no, you don't even get a counter offer. First of all, this date he went on with Sabrina, I could tell right away she wasn't interested in him. Because you know what she did? She did the same thing to him that he was doing to other women. He had 21 questions, as Tiffany said last time. Is this 21 questions? Well, you know what? Sabrina came with 31 questions. And this girl rolled it all the way back to childhood. She said, I want to know the 10-year-old Paul. She went back to the childhood. She didn't even want to ask no questions from the present. She said, I want to go to the 10-year-old Paul, and I want to ask questions about that. This girl was in interview mode, and you could tell from the very beginning. Now, I said in the very beginning about Sabrina. Sabrina got a list of things she wants a mile long. She's another person who I'm telling you, she doesn't know who she is in the marketplace either. But she came in interviewing Paul, and she gave him a dose of his own medicine. And what she was saying was actually correct. They are both got a lot in common. They both treat relationships like they're some sort of business deal, and they sit there and they both ask each other 20, 31 questions, but they don't bring any human side to it. And that's what they're both going to need to change about themselves. P.O. was saying, well, you want to know about the 10-year-old and me? I was mischievous back then. You know what, Paul? I think you still mischievous. I still think you still don't want to learn some lessons, because now you're not only 10 no more, you 40 something. And I'm still seeing you doing some things that I consider mischievous, because you should know better by now. Okay, you should know better than to do some of the things you're doing, but you're still doing them. And that's called mischievous. The thing about Sabrina and Paul, they are a lot alike. You know what? They both are pretty critical. I think they're both really critical. And I'm not going to say judgmental, but they walking up to that line. I can see that in Sabrina too. Sabrina has this thing about a list, and I think she's trying to check off boxes on people. And just like she was talking about with PO, hey, I want to go deeper with you and ask you some questions. She was trying to see about these boxes she's got on that list of hers. But that's going to be a problem for her in the dating world, because no man wants to be, like she said, she doesn't want to be in a business relationship with a man. Well, girl, that's what you treating it like. That's how you coming in here right now. You present it like a business arrangement. And I bet she has dated some men like her, and she didn't like it because it felt too much business. Well, here's the problem with Sabrina and PO. I don't like when people want other people to balance them out and be what they're not. Let me tell you what I'm saying. When you recognize there's a problem with you, you're too intense, you're too critical, then what you do is, instead of you changing, you decide you want to go into the dating marketplace and you want to find someone who's opposite so they can balance you out. Well, how the hell would that person want to be with you? If you're critical and intense and I'm a fun-loving, carefree person, why would I want to be with you? Why are you giving me that job? You know why? Because you're lazy. And what you really need to do is you need to change yourself. You need to become less intense. You need to become more fun-loving. You need to become more lighthearted. So then when you come to meet me, we can meet in the middle. But instead, you don't want to do anything different. You want to keep coming in the marketplace, the same old person, and then you want to meet somebody else and have them do all the work for you. Hell no. Sabrina, you are intense and you are critical. And this idea you have that you want to meet someone who's not going to double down on that because you think Paul will, you're right. He would double down. You guys are too much of the same. But that's not your biggest problem. Your biggest problem is you're looking for someone to round out the parts of you that are foul. And you know what? You need to do that work yourself. When Sabrina planned this date, this whole date, because the women were supposed to plan the dates. So I'm assuming that this little trip around Washington Monument in this bus, tour bus, was Sabrina's idea. Horrible idea. Who plans a date on a tour bus going to look at monuments in DC where you got to listen to a narration in your ear? How the hell are we supposed to talk to each other? How the hell are we supposed to get to know each other? And we sit and stack behind each other. And then she's upset that Demetrius is sitting in the back all by himself. Well, girl, you planned the date. And you mad because, oh, he should at least try to act like, you know, he's interested in me. You planned the date. You did this. Why does he now have to do all the work? This is what I'm talking about. You see something you don't like, but instead of you being different, you want someone else to be different. You planned this lousy ass date, Sabrina. So you know what? You take all the blame for it. But both of them, P.O. and Sabrina, they got a lot of things alike. And you know what don't work well in the dating world? Just like when P.O. was at the bowling alley with Joy and he's trying to give her instruction and tell her what to do. Joy wasn't interested in that. I would have done the same thing. I'd be like, boy, get away from me. If I need some help bowling, I'll let you know. Okay, I'll let you know. But all of that was just too much. That was a turnoff. But I think one of the most sad parts of the whole show was after the deliberation room, and Precious was really the only one fighting for Paul because Precious felt like Paul could balance her out. Here we go. Once again, somebody looking for somebody to do all the work for them. Paul could balance her out because she's flighty, she's this. And because Paul's so grounded, he could balance her out. No, Precious. You do the work. Okay, this idea that you're going to use Paul to make you not flighty and round you out, that's a myth, people. You don't want opposites. Opposites may attract, but that don't mean it's good. Flies are attracted to shit, but that don't mean it's a good combination. That does not work long term, always being with someone who's opposite of you. That shit is irritating. Precious has to tell Paul that, you know, hey, you may not be ready to love. You may not be ready to love. And then, you know, she starts telling Paul some of the things that the women were saying in the deliberation room. And then Paul goes on, you know, Tiffany 2.0. He sounds just like Tiffany, but in a male body. He basically said, well, I'm a juggernaut. And if you don't like it, something must be wrong with you. No, that's not what that means. You can be who you want, but that don't mean I gotta like you. And that doesn't mean something's wrong with me. And he says, well, if I'm the only one diving in and you're not diving in, then that says more about you than it says about me. No, what that says is your diving in is not enticing to me. Okay, that's what it says. It doesn't mean something's wrong with me. It says that your offer that you're putting in is not enticing. It's not enough for me to even give you a counter. That's not necessarily saying something about me. It's actually saying something about you. And then he tells Precious, you know what? If you're intimidated by me, that's your problem. I'm not going to give a woman a lot of compliments. I'm not going to give her a lot of sweetness. I'm all salt. Well, you know what? You can take your saltiness and you can get on. Because one thing is, I'm not in high school, okay, and I don't have low self-esteem. So you're not going to gaslight me into thinking that just because I don't like the way you put in this offer and the way you approach me, that means something's wrong with me. No, you're not going to gaslight me. You might need to take that over to a woman who has low self-esteem and who is 17 years old. But these women are grown-ass women. Nobody is perfect. But you know what? That little falling out you just did, P.O., you sounded just like Tiffany of last week, and you sound like Zadia from last year. Precious tried to warn him at the end. You know, Precious was taken a little bit aback by his response, and she tried to warn him that, hey, we need to see more of you. He basically said, you need to bring some more sugar because all this salt you dishing up, let me tell you, don't nobody want to take a drink from that well. And Paul better be careful, because if he doesn't change his approach in dating, he's going to be a man putting in a lot of offers and get nothing accepted. He's going to be like these people out here talking about they've been looking for a house for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And I wonder, why ain't you got no house accepted? Because I figured out that they're putting in lowball offers, and they think that just because that's what they want to pay, that's what they should get the house for. No, the market determines the price for the house. And if you're always the lowest offer on the table, I don't care if you don't think that house is not worth it. You won't get the house because you know what? Someone else is willing to pay a higher price for it. So if you don't want to pay the market price for a house, go sit in your 1-bedroom apartment, and then you just don't ever have to own no home. But Paul, you better wake up, because if you're not careful, you're going to be going home on the next round of men elimination. I'm telling you. Bye.